Despite his reputation as a charming and likable figure, there was an unsettling edge to Clark Gable that many found hard to ignore. Beneath the smooth exterior and warm smile lurked a complexity that made him both appealing and disturbing. His ability to portray rugged masculinity with a hint of vulnerability created a tension that captivated audiences, but also hinted at deeper, more troubling layers. This duality was evident not only in his film roles but also in his personal life, where charm often masked a more volatile and unpredictable nature. The contrast between his public persona and private struggles added to the enigmatic aura surrounding him, making it difficult to fully separate the man from the myth. His interactions with others sometimes revealed a harsher side, challenging the notion of the all-American hero. This blend of kindness and menace created a magnetic but uneasy fascination that still sparks debate about who he really was. Despite the acclaim and adoration Clark Gable received from fans and the film industry, his life off-screen was far from spotless. Historians and critics have pointed out a darker side to his character that clashed with the charming, heroic image he portrayed in movies. Gable was known for frequent encounters with scandal, which often revealed behavior that many found reckless or morally questionable. These incidents showed a man whose personal life was marked by turbulence and controversy, contrasting sharply with the idealized persona Hollywood presented to the public. His private actions and alleged manipulations led some to question the true nature of the man behind the fame. This complex mix of admiration and criticism paints a picture of someone whose life was as dramatic and conflicted as any role he played on screen. Known for his robust charm and good looks, Clark Gable's personal life and relationships often drew as much attention as his film career. He was romantically involved with many women, yet his reputation as a heavy drinker and serial philanderer complicated these connections. His 5 marriages were marked by infidelity and turmoil, reflecting a pattern of using relationships to boost his Hollywood standing. Gable tended to choose partners who could support his career ambitions, which made his approach to relationships seem self-serving. This left many of his wives and partners feeling betrayed and abandoned. His personal life was a mix of captivating allure and controversy, fueled by a string of affairs that kept him in the public eye not just for his acting, but for the drama surrounding his love life. Beyond his well-known marriages, Clark Gable's personal life was surrounded by rumors of romantic relationships with both men and women. These whispers, if true, added a complicated layer to the story of a man often seen as the epitome of classic Hollywood masculinity. Rather than being driven by genuine affection, these relationships reportedly served as strategic moves to advance his career. Gable's charm was not just a natural gift, but a tool he wielded with purpose, using romantic connections to climb the social and professional ranks of Hollywood. This approach showed a side of him that was calculating and willing to use others to gain favor and opportunities. While this opportunism helped secure his place among Hollywood's elite, it also created tension and alienated some people who saw through his motives. The contrast between his public image as a charismatic leading man and the private reality of his ambitious maneuvering revealed a paradox in his character. His dual nature, blending charm with a keen sense of self-interest, made him both admired and mistrusted, painting a complex picture of a star who was as much a strategist as he was an icon. Although Clark Gable appeared confident and composed on screen, he privately struggled with insecurities about his physical appearance. Hollywood's relentless demands for perfection made these feelings even harder to bear. He was known to have false teeth, and reportedly suffered from bad breath, issues that made him self-conscious. The high beauty standards in the film industry added pressure, causing these insecurities to linger and affect how he saw himself and interacted with others. Despite these personal challenges, Gable worked hard to create an image of rugged masculinity that captivated fans and impressed people in the movie business. This ability to show confidence outwardly while dealing with doubts inside revealed a striking contrast between the public star and the man behind the scenes. His story reminds us that even the most admired figures can face struggles with self-image. One of the most troubling aspects of Gable's legacy involved allegations that he failed to respect boundaries, particularly with women. Reports circulated that he was involved in incidents where consent was questionable, casting a shadow over his reputation. The most notorious of these was a scandal that allegedly led to a secret child, adding to the complexity of his legacy. Gable's conduct, while revered in certain circles, was questioned in others, as these allegations painted a portrait of a man with deep-seated moral ambiguities. His life thus became a juxtaposition of public admiration and private indiscretion, with each revelation complicating his already multifaceted image. These stories have lingered over time, making it difficult to separate the man from the myth, and leaving a lasting impact on how he is remembered. Throughout his life, Clark Gable displayed a striking mix of kindness and self-interest that shaped how people remember him. He was often generous with his co-stars, offering support and guidance when they faced difficulties. Actresses like Marilyn Monroe and Jean Harlow spoke warmly of his willingness to help, showing a side of him that was caring and protective. However, this kindness was not without its contradictions. Alongside these generous acts were stories of manipulation and behavior that served his own goals. This dual nature made him a complex figure, admired for his compassion but also viewed with suspicion for his ambition. His legacy remains a blend of warmth and controversy, reflecting the many sides of his character. Gable's early years were deeply shaped by the contrasting religious beliefs of his parents. His father was a Protestant who worked tirelessly as an oil well driller, instilling in young Gable a strong work ethic and a practical approach to life. Meanwhile, his mother was a strict Catholic, devoted to her faith and its traditions. This difference created a tension that affected the family dynamic, especially after his mother passed away when Gable was still young. Her death left a significant gap in his life, and his father's choice to raise him without following Catholic customs caused friction with relatives who held firmly to those beliefs. Growing up in the small town of Cadiz, Ohio, these religious and familial conflicts contributed to the complexity of Gable's personality. The mix of hard work from his father and the absence of his mother's faith-based guidance created a unique environment that influenced the man he would become. Following his mother's death, Clark Gable was raised by his father, who made a significant decision that shaped the family dynamics for years to come. Despite the wishes of Gable's late mother, his father chose not to follow Catholic beliefs, instead prioritizing his Protestant faith. This choice created tension between Gable's father and his mother's family, who felt strongly that important elements of their heritage were being overlooked in his upbringing. The religious divide was more than just about faith. It represented a deeper conflict within the family, one that affected how Gable experienced his early years. The absence of his mother, combined with the strained relationship between the two sides of the family, left a lasting impression on him. These challenges influenced his views on family, tradition, and the complexities that come with differing beliefs within a household. The friction that arose from these circumstances was a quiet, but persistent force in Gable's life during his formative years, shaping his understanding of loyalty, identity, and the meaning of home in ways that stayed with him throughout his life. After Gable's father remarried, his stepmother, Ginny Dunlap, became a central figure in his life, offering a nurturing presence that profoundly influenced his development. She introduced him to music by teaching him piano, sparking a lasting appreciation for the arts that would shape his creative instincts. Beyond fostering his artistic interests, Ginny paid close attention to his appearance, ensuring he was always well-groomed and properly dressed. This care in his presentation helped craft the polished image that would later define his Hollywood persona. Through her guidance, Gable gained exposure to cultural refinement, which bridged the gap between his small-town roots and the sophisticated world he would enter as an actor. Her influence was key in developing his aesthetic sense and artistic sensibilities, laying the groundwork for his transformation into a celebrated film star. From an early age, Clark Gable showed a keen interest in mechanics, often working on cars with his father. This hands-on learning style reflected a practical and curious mind. Alongside this mechanical fascination, Gable nurtured a love for literature, particularly enjoying Shakespearean sonnets, which he would recite to close friends. This revealed a thoughtful and intellectual side that contrasted sharply with the tough, rugged image he later became famous for. His interests were varied, blending traditionally masculine pursuits like hunting with a deep appreciation for the arts. This blend of traits hinted at the complex and multi-dimensional personality that would come to define his success in Hollywood, showing that beneath the surface of a strong, masculine figure lay a sensitive and cultured individual. In 1917, financial troubles hit the Gable family hard, forcing them to leave behind their life in the oil industry and move to a farm in Ohio. This sudden change brought a very different way of living for young Clark Gable. The quiet, hard work of farm life was a big shift from what he had known. Although he did his best to help, Clark felt a strong desire for something more than the farm could offer. His father wanted him to stay and take over the farm one day, but Clark's dreams were set on a different path. He didn't want to be tied down by the expectations of his family or the limits of rural life. Seeking a new start, he left the farm and moved to Akron, Ohio, where he found work at the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company. This job marked the beginning of his breakaway from small-town life and the start of his journey toward fame. His choice to leave the farm showed his determination to create a future on his own terms, moving beyond what was expected of him. While working in a department store in Portland, Clark Gable met Josephine Dillon, a theater manager who recognized something special in him. She became his acting coach and mentor, playing a vital role in shaping his future career. Josephine saw raw potential in Gable and dedicated herself to improving his appearance, building his confidence, and refining his acting skills. She taught him how to control his movements on stage and helped him lower his naturally high voice, making it more suitable for the roles he would later play. Her influence went beyond just coaching. She also supported him financially, investing in his development as an actor. This mentorship was crucial as Gable transitioned from theater to film, providing him with the tools he needed to succeed in Hollywood. Despite the difference in their ages, they married, solidifying her importance in his early success and personal life. Dillon's commitment to Gable's career went far beyond simple encouragement. She took on the financial burden of his dental work, understanding that a polished smile was essential for his screen presence. Beyond that, she played a crucial role in helping him develop his physical appearance, guiding him through exercises and routines to build a strong, attractive physique. This physical transformation was paired with lessons in confidence and presence, teaching Gable how to carry himself with the assuredness that Hollywood demanded. Her influence reshaped him from a rough, unrefined young man into a sophisticated actor who could command attention in front of the camera. Through her careful and persistent training, Gable learned how to embody the qualities of a leading man: confidence, charm, and appeal, which became the foundation for his successful career. Dillon's role was not just that of a coach, but a transformative force who redefined his image and helped him step fully into the Hollywood spotlight, leaving a lasting impact on his life and work. In 1924, Gable made a decisive move to Hollywood alongside Dillon, who had become both his wife and his manager. This relocation marked the start of his journey in the film industry. She managed his career with dedication, helping him secure roles in silent films that quickly built his reputation. At this time, he simplified his name from William Clark Gable to Clark Gable, a change that suited the new image he was crafting for himself. Hollywood was a place where he could reinvent himself, and with Dillon's guidance, he began to gain recognition. However, the pressures of ambition and the demands of his rising career led to personal struggles, including infidelity that strained their marriage. Eventually, this caused their divorce, but despite the end of their relationship, Dillon's early influence had already set him on a path toward lasting fame. He continued to grow as an actor, building on the foundation laid during those first crucial years in Hollywood. After his divorce from Dillon, Gable continued a clear pattern of aligning himself with wealthy women, marrying Maria Franklin Langham, a wealthy socialite from Texas. This marriage was more than just a personal relationship. Langham's financial support gave Gable a stronger foundation as he worked his way up in Hollywood. His choice to marry women with financial means showed a practical side to his approach to relationships. Rather than just following matters of the heart, Gable seemed to see marriage as a way to gain stability and help his career advance. This reliance on wealthy partners became a defining feature of his personal life, reflecting a calculated effort to use personal connections to secure professional success. Even as his fame grew, he stuck to this pattern, showing that his relationships were often intertwined with his ambitions in the film industry. This dynamic painted a picture of a man who was willing to use marriage strategically, blending his personal and professional worlds in a way that benefited his rise to stardom. At MGM, Clark Gable found a studio that recognized his rugged looks and natural charisma, shaping him into a star. The studio's publicity team worked carefully to craft his image as a romantic lead, emphasizing his masculine charm and strong screen presence. His performance opposite Jean Harlow in the film Red Dust played a key role in establishing him as a leading man. This success marked the beginning of his status as MGM's top romantic star. The studio's efforts to promote him as the ideal Hollywood heartthrob were deliberate and effective, turning Gable from an aspiring actor into one of the most beloved figures of his time. His rise was a clear example of how a studio's influence combined with personal appeal could create a lasting Hollywood legend. Clark Gable's career reached a defining peak with his role in It Happened One Night, a film that not only brought him an Academy Award for Best Actor, but also cemented his status as a Hollywood icon. His portrayal in this romantic comedy was filled with charm, and left a lasting impression on audiences. The chemistry he shared with Claudette Colbert was electric, drawing viewers into their story, and making the film a major success. This role marked a significant turning point, showcasing Gable's ability to handle comedy and romance with equal skill, which broadened his appeal beyond the rugged leading man roles he had been known for. Winning the Oscar for this performance boosted his reputation further, confirming his place as a top star who could attract large audiences. His talent and charisma shone through in this film, elevating him to a level of fame that endured for decades, and making him one of the most beloved figures in American cinema. During the filming of Gone with the Wind, Clark Gable took a bold stand against racial segregation that was uncommon in Hollywood at the time. When he found out that African American crew members were forced to use separate facilities marked by segregation signs, he was deeply disturbed. Gable made it clear that he would not continue working unless those signs were removed, showing his unwillingness to accept unfair treatment of his colleagues. This act of courage and solidarity earned him great respect from both his fellow actors and the crew members, highlighting a compassionate side of him that many admired. His decision to challenge the status quo in such a public way was a significant moment in his career, reflecting a commitment to equality that went beyond his role as an actor. By standing up for others, Gable helped to push back against the racial barriers present in the industry, leaving a legacy that extended beyond his performances on screen. One of the most meaningful friendships in Clark Gable's life was with Hattie McDaniel, who made history as the first African American to win an Academy Award. Their relationship went beyond the usual Hollywood acquaintances. Gable stood by McDaniel through many challenges she faced in her career. He often showed up at her Hollywood parties, making sure she was included in events where many others might have overlooked her. At a time when racial discrimination was widespread, Gable's support was unusual and courageous. He openly advocated for her acceptance in the film industry, demonstrating not just kindness but a deep sense of loyalty. This friendship revealed a side of Gable that many might not expect. A man willing to break social barriers to uplift a friend. His respect for McDaniel was a clear sign of his belief in equality and fairness, and it left a positive mark on his legacy. Their bond reflected the power of true friendship in overcoming prejudice and standing up for what is right, showing that Gable valued people for who they were, not the color of their skin. Throughout his career, Clark Gable showed a strong sense of loyalty and protection toward his female co-stars, especially when they faced difficulties on set. One of the most notable examples was during the filming of The Misfits, where Marilyn Monroe struggled with personal challenges and often found herself the target of harsh treatment from others. Gable stood by her side, offering support and shielding her from the bullying that could have made the experience unbearable. This protective attitude was not limited to Monroe. Actresses like Jean Harlow and Ava Gardner also praised Gable for his kindness and readiness to defend them in the tough, male-dominated world of Hollywood. His behavior revealed a chivalrous nature that many found surprising given the rumors that swirled around his private life. By standing up for women who were vulnerable or mistreated, Gable earned respect not only as a leading man on screen, but also as a considerate and courageous presence behind the scenes. His willingness to advocate for his co-stars helped create a safer and more supportive environment during a time when such actions were far from common. Clark Gable's third marriage to Carole Lombard was marked by a deep and genuine affection that stood out in his life. Their relationship was more than just a Hollywood romance. It was a true partnership filled with love and companionship. Gable admired Lombard not only as a talented actress but also as a person who brought joy and meaning to his life. When Lombard tragically died in a plane crash, the loss hit Gable with overwhelming grief. This event changed him profoundly, and many say he never fully recovered from the heartbreak. The depth of his love for Lombard was evident in the way he honored her memory, choosing to be buried beside her so that their bond could continue even after death. Her passing also pushed Gable to make significant changes in his life. Struggling with sorrow, he enlisted in the war, showing a new side of himself shaped by loss and determination. At the same time, he adopted a more reckless lifestyle, perhaps as a way to cope with the pain that lingered inside him. This period in Gable's life reveals how powerful and lasting the impact of love and loss can be, shaping not just a man's emotions but his very path forward. After Lombard's death, Gable's life changed dramatically, sinking into a darker place filled with guilt and a heavy sense of responsibility. People whispered that he blamed himself for what had happened, especially since she had been flying back to confront him about rumors that he had been unfaithful. This loss weighed on him deeply, and his grief pushed him toward reckless behavior. In an attempt to cope with his pain, he enlisted in the war, hoping that serving would bring some relief from his anguish. Over time, the sorrow he carried became more visible, shaping his later years as he grew distant and troubled. His battle with guilt and grief showed just how deeply he loved Lombard, and how much her death affected his emotional world. The relationship between Clark Gable and Loretta Young is one of the most debated and troubling stories in Hollywood history. They worked together on the film The Call of the Wild, and rumors soon spread about a possible romantic affair. Loretta Young always denied that there was any consensual relationship between them. However, years after the film, Young's family revealed that the relationship had not been consensual, suggesting a darker and more painful reality behind the scenes. This revelation challenged the charming and heroic image Clark Gable had in the public eye. The story has since become a key part of how people remember Gable, casting a shadow over his legacy and raising difficult questions about the true nature of what happened between them. The ongoing debate reflects the complexities of their connection and the lasting impact it has had on how Gable is viewed. During Hollywood's golden age, the pressures on stars to maintain a perfect public image were immense, leading many to take drastic steps to protect their careers. One such story involves a secret child born from an affair between Clark Gable and a woman named Young. This affair resulted in the birth of a daughter named Judith. To avoid any public scandal that could damage their reputations, Young secretly adopted Judith, keeping the true parentage hidden from the world. Gable's role in this situation remained a closely guarded secret, illustrating the lengths to which actors went to keep their personal lives private under the watchful eye of Hollywood's moral expectations. Judith eventually discovered the truth about her parents, adding a layer of complexity to Gable's legacy. This hidden chapter in Gable's life stands as a symbol of the sacrifices and difficult choices stars face to navigate the strict and often unforgiving standards of the film industry. Often, Gable's relationships with women reflected a strong sense of entitlement. He was known to approach co-stars and women on set with little concern for social grace or proper behavior. This boldness was something many noticed, including Carole Lombard, who at first pushed back against his advances. His assertive nature became a defining part of how people saw him. Some admired this as confidence, while others viewed it as arrogance. These interactions shaped a complicated legacy. He was praised for his charm and magnetism, yet also faced criticism for the way he treated women. The mixed feelings people had about his behavior revealed a complex and sometimes controversial character he embodied, showing both the appeal and the challenges of his personality. Clark Gable's legacy remains complex and often debated. On one hand, he is celebrated as a Hollywood legend, admired for his memorable and iconic roles that left a lasting mark on cinema. His talent and charisma brought many characters to life, earning him a place among the great actors of his time. On the other hand, Gable's personal life was marred by controversies, including stories of exploitation and scandal. These aspects cast a shadow over his public image, making it difficult for some to separate the man from the myth. This dual nature of his legacy means people view him in very different ways. Some see him as a flawed, but gifted actor who struggled with the pressures and temptations of fame. Others regard him as a symbol of the moral complexities that have long been part of Hollywood's history. His life story reflects the challenges that come with being a public figure, showing how adoration and criticism often exist side by side. Ultimately, Gable's legacy stands as a reminder of the complicated nature of celebrity, where greatness and imperfection often intertwine. In his later years, Clark Gable faced serious health problems that were largely the result of his lifestyle choices. His heavy smoking and drinking habits took a significant toll on his body over time. These habits eventually led to a heart attack, which ended his life at the age of 59. This sudden loss cut short what had been an extraordinary career in Hollywood. The physical decline he experienced serves as a clear example of how the demanding lifestyle of the film industry can negatively affect even the most talented actors. Beyond the physical effects, Gable's health struggles also highlight the emotional strain that often comes with fame. His passing was deeply felt by fans and colleagues alike, who remembered him not only for his remarkable charisma, but also for his undeniable talent. The void left by his death was a reminder of how much he had contributed to the entertainment world, and how fragile life can be under the pressures of stardom. In his final wishes, Clark Gable expressed a deep and lasting love for Carole Lombard by requesting to be buried beside her. This decision highlights the profound connection they shared, a bond that endured even beyond death. Choosing to rest next to Lombard was not just a burial preference, but a powerful symbol of Gable's undying affection and devotion. Their relationship, marked by love and tragedy, has become a cherished part of Hollywood history, with this act cementing Lombard's place as the one true love of Gable's life. The gesture reflects the significant impact Lombard had on him, shaping his personal story and legacy in a way that fans continue to find moving and romantic. This final act of devotion adds a tender and poignant layer to Gable's memory, showing how deeply he valued the love they shared. Ultimately, the story of Clark Gable reminds us that people are rarely just one thing. His charm and kindness made him beloved by many, yet his darker, more complex traits revealed a man who struggled beneath the surface. This mix of warmth and unease created a figure who was both captivating and unsettling, reflecting the contradictions that can exist within anyone. His legacy is not just about the roles he played on screen, but the tension between his public image and private reality, which continues to provoke curiosity and reflection. The way he balanced these opposing sides offers a glimpse into the complexity of human nature